Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad Family Singapore City Streets Exploration Vlog Southeast Asia Arrival Thoughts. Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that I'm currently in East and Southeast Asia for a few months, and during this time I'm recording lots of exclusive content comparing different cities in the region to help you decide which ones you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. For example, Singapore is one of the most expensive destinations in the world, but I know a way how you can save hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars when visiting Singapore, and it's not something that others talk about on YouTube. So head over to buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad using the link below and contribute any amount of your choice, no matter how big or how small, to get exclusive access to my most helpful content. And that includes Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, Hong Kong, and many other cities in Asia, Europe, and the United States. On this note, let's start exploring the city streets of Singapore. We are currently located in the neighborhood that is called Little India, I believe. The building that's in front of us is very famous and very well known. And this street is also pretty scenic, as you can tell from the video. It has lots of different stores and shops and restaurants, and it's a great place to feel a unique vibe because Singapore is a very multi-cultural, diverse destination. Indian culture is represented here as well as Muslim culture, as well as many non-religious cultures. So it's a big mix of everything. And it's very interesting to see this kind of blend and experience this here in Singapore. I'm very excited to be exploring it today. And I just arrived here from Europe, from Vienna. That is the place where I stayed before coming here. And as you can imagine, it's a pretty dramatic difference, huge contrast. If I were to compare Vienna and Singapore, I don't even know where I would begin and where it would end, because these cities are both famous, but they are so different. It's kind of cool. We just passed another reporter vlogging or making some kind of content too. So this is that building that I was talking about. Let's take a good look at it. The architecture is pretty impressive. It is a Muslim religious establishment. I'm not so sure how it's called properly. Maybe it's a mosque or a church or something like that. I did see signs that only Muslims are allowed to go inside, which makes sense. They do let you explore the outdoors, which is very nice. They also have a free toilet that is open for everybody in case you're looking for a place that is a good choice that might work. But honestly, Singapore doesn't have this problem with toilet shortage as many other Asian cities. They have public toilets everywhere. The way they see it is just like a basic human need that should be satisfied, and no matter where you are, you don't have to spend time or money trying to find it. And it's not something special. In Europe, it feels like a privilege to be able to use the bathroom. They don't really care if there is a bathroom or there is no bathroom, or you have to pay and you have no change. It doesn't matter to them, unfortunately. I'm not sure who is the one who makes these decisions. It's probably been this way for a long time and nobody wants to change it. But just so you know, if you're European and you don't travel much, everywhere outside of Europe, toilets are basically free, almost everywhere. You don't have to pay for it, and you don't have to look for it either. So I don't know what kind of, I mean, it's supposed to be a very developed area, but it doesn't have this kind of basic thing, which of course makes it harder to enjoy things. But let's stop talking about Europe and focus more on Singapore. One thing that you notice when you just arrive to the city is the weather. It's really humid and really hot. And the first day I arrived, it was so hot that it was almost impossible to be outdoors. There were no clouds like today, and the sun was just baking, and it was also so hot that on Google weather forecast it said that it's like, it feels like 39 or 40 degrees or something like that Celsius, and it definitely, you could feel it to the point that it really slows you down, especially if you're not used to this kind of climate. Although I have to point out that today the weather is a lot more enjoyable. It's a little bit cooler. It's not cold. It's still very hot. It's still hot, but it's not as hot as to the point that you cannot be outside at all. I'm still walking around, and let's see. I hope that my phone and my camera and my gimbal do not overheat in this kind of hot, humid weather, so that I can record some city streets, because my goal today is not just to show you the famous street with that church. You can find that everywhere on YouTube, but I want to show you some other streets that people don't film this much. Like right now we are on the side street. It's still Little India. You can see lots of cool stores with the things that they are selling. I don't think it's just Indian. I think it's a mix of different kinds of things. Like I can see Turkish stuff, and I'm pretty sure other countries are represented too. But what's really cool about this view right here is how the modern tall skyscrapers are mixed with the vintage, old school, historic buildings here. And this is something that's kind of unique, the way it blends in over here. And I really like this. This vibe here. It's very, very unique. I don't think I've seen this specific kind of vibe anywhere else in the world, which just shows you that Singapore is a pretty unique destination that is worth exploring, and it's worth going to different neighborhoods, not just staying in the main area by the bay, but also going a little bit around different parts of the city. Now we're going to make a right. I hope. You have to be very careful, because here the sidewalks, they are not European. They are very narrow, depending on where you are. Sometimes they might have a bunch of restaurants blocking, with the tables and chairs set up and blocking the way, and then you have to walk on the road, which is sometimes either uncomfortable or it just takes some getting used to. That is one thing where I don't know how to improve this, because there isn't that much space sometimes, but this is one thing where Europe shines. Wider sidewalks and pedestrian friendly infrastructure is something that is easily accessible in many different parts of Europe. So another thing I noticed when I arrived, I'm walking around and I see that the streets are pretty clean. I don't see much trash or garbage, and it feels very, very nice and clean. I think they are doing a pretty good job taking care of it. Also, maybe this has to do with the strict regulations and rules and enforcing. Here I know they have fines for many different kinds of things, and it's pretty strict. So maybe that also plays a role in the way how it's kept clean, but it's definitely noticeable. I might be wrong, it's just the first impression, but so far, no matter where I went, it was pretty clean. And also I did not notice really strange like characters, people looking at you in a strange way, trying to ask you for money, or just doing other things that are make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. I don't see this kind of stuff here in Singapore, which makes sense, because in Asia in general it's not a big problem as it is in Europe and the United States. And I don't know if you know what the answer to this is, like how do they manage this, because I'm pretty sure no matter where you are in the world, there are different kinds of people. It's not just it's not like Europe and USA is full of mentally sick people and Asia doesn't have them. I'm pretty sure those people are everywhere. It's just that I'm pretty sure they are maybe being taken care of in some institutions or something, or they're not allowed to be in the public spaces. I'm not sure what it is exactly. What I do know is that if you are an average person and you like exploring and walking around and traveling, it feels a lot safer and more comfortable no matter what part of the neighborhood or no matter what part of the city you go to, what time of day. Asia feels very safe and very comfortable, definitely much safer and more comfortable than Europe or the United States. And this is something that I noticed as soon as I landed, and I keep noticing that over and over again. There could be exceptions, of course. Definitely you can find all kinds of people everywhere, all kinds of situations everywhere. I'm just saying in general, if I were to generalize, that is the trend that I'm seeing when I travel to Asia. Now we're about to cross the street over here. You can see there is a lot of construction going on many different streets, and that is something that I keep noticing in Singapore. And it's good because it feels like the city is still changing and it's growing and it's developing, and you can see like all these construction cranes everywhere. Also in the distance, lots of construction. I think they are building new malls and residential buildings and business centers and many different kinds of stuff. So definitely that is a very good thing. And also another good thing is that if you look a little bit at the massive projects, especially when it comes to big projects like high-speed rail lines or other transit-oriented development, big malls in Asia, it's usually a lot faster to get it done. And I have a huge respect to the way it's done in Asia. I'm not sure what the details are, but I just noticed that when I come back to the same city that I visited in the past, I see that the city changes every time I visit, and usually it changes in a better way with better infrastructure, new rapid transit lines, better sidewalks, more variety of malls and entertainment centers, better residential buildings, apartments, hotel choices, and things like that. So Europe and the United States, they don't seem to be changing as fast or as much. As an example, we have a notorious project in California where I used to live for a long time, and I'm still gonna be coming back to California. There is a high-speed rail project that's supposed to connect San Diego and Los Angeles and San Francisco. I don't think it's gonna go all the way to San Diego in the beginning, but I believe they had some plans to extend it to San Diego. But for the beginning stage, it should be between Los Angeles and San Francisco, which takes approximately 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of driving, depending on your speed and traffic conditions. If the traffic is bad, it could take even 10 hours. But nevertheless, the point is that it's been being discussed, and they have all these environmental reviews and negotiations and a lot of bureaucracy, and that process was taking so long, and then they started building it, and the budget is being extended multiple times, and many sections that are crucial are not ready. The sections that are completed, they are in the middle of nowhere where there are no houses, where they didn't have to move anybody, the ones that were the easiest to build. So they are making progress, but it's taking not years, it's taking decades. And who knows, nobody knows when it's going to be ready. And this is just one of the many examples of how long it takes to build something, especially something that is as big, as important as a high-speed rail line. Whereas during this decades of thinking and construction, slow construction in Asia, like whole new cities and maybe dozens of lines, including high-speed rail, would be built. And this is something that I think Western world could learn from Asia, how quickly they are getting things done. It is very efficient and very quick. If they need it, they get it done. I'm not sure how that goes in line with democracy. That is another big conversation. Of course, democracy is very good, but sometimes when there is something that is in the interest of the whole population, this is where maybe sometimes it's good to have I don't know how to describe this with a few words, but I think sometimes the government should have a little bit more power to say like, okay, we need to build this thing because in the end everybody is going to benefit from this, and if the majority of people agree with that, then they should just get it done and not let just a few people slow down that construction that's going to benefit millions of people, if that makes sense. In California also, a lot of people, they really like to drive, and they keep being vocal and protesting against spending money on improving public transportation, even though with better public transportation more people would end up benefiting in the long term, whether it's the environment or the cost or the productivity, and lots of other benefits that public transportation brings to the table, but not everybody is willing to see it that way, at least not in the United States. But anyway, let's focus back on Singapore, and you can see this this is just another one of their shopping malls, and what's kind of cool about it is that you can see it's surrounded by lots of trees, and the whole city is very, very green. It's also known as the Garden City. That's what I've heard over and over again, and it kind of makes sense because of the way how green it is. You can see lots of trees and lots of plants, lots of parks and gardens everywhere. I just wish it were a little bit cooler so that it's more enjoyable to explore it during the daytime, because it is sometimes pretty hard to walk around in that sun. Like you can see right now, I took this escalator up because I'm hoping to pass through a little air-conditioned shopping area so that I can cool down a little bit and let my phone cool down as well. You can see that even just an average overpass for crossing the street is kind of, it looks like an elegant shopping mall. Not the most elegant, nothing super fancy, but it just looks kind of cool, and definitely a good environment to have a little break from that heat. It looks like it's a pretty big mall. I believe it's called Bugis Plus or something like that. I did not have this mall on my list of places to visit, but I don't see how it would hurt to pass through. So one thing, if you're planning to travel to Singapore, one thing that you should definitely keep in mind is that the weather might slow you down. You might think, based on your usual travel routine, you might think you're gonna be able to get this done and get that done and go here and go there, and in the end, you might realize that out of all the things you had planned, you were able to accomplish only half or something like that. So it's good to do a little bit of extra research and prioritize the places that you want to visit the most, because when you are in Singapore, it might take longer for you to get it done because of the weather, especially if you like to visit outdoor places, as many of us do. Pretty nice mall. Just an average mall here in Singapore. Pretty good looking. I hope we find a way to exit. I believe our exit is over there. It's easy to get lost in these big malls, especially if you are not used to it. It reminds me a little bit of Las Vegas, the way that everything is built. It's a little bit better, it's not as bad, but I'm saying bad. In Las Vegas, everything is built to make you get lost, because they want you to stay there longer in each casino, each property, stay longer, spend more money. Here it's a little bit more convenient, but still the size of this infrastructure and all the overpasses and all the gigantic malls with they have some casinos too, like lots of stuff like that can be found in Singapore. So we did cross the street. This gives you an idea of what it's like to cross a wider street. That's you can see in the distance, that is where we came in. on that side where all those buses are passing right now, and it took us almost 5 minutes to cross it. And I don't see any alternative. Although I do see an alternative over there. If you walk a little bit further, we are walking in that direction anyway. So you can see there are options, which is great. Just not exactly in the same spot, but you can still cross without having to go upstairs, which is a good thing. Now, another thing that is kind of one of the first fresh impressions is how expensive everything is in convenience stores, and also housing prices. Hotels, Airbnbs are pretty expensive, especially when compared with other locations in Asia. I knew that Singapore is going to be more expensive, but the price difference is pretty substantial. It's basically one of the most expensive cities in the whole world. If you are interested in budget-friendly places to visit, I would definitely encourage you to consider watching my exclusive content on Buy Me a Coffee, because I have a lot of very practical advice that's gonna literally tell you what to do, where to go, and that would help save you lots and lots of money. But overall, just one tip, if I were to say one thing, if you are visiting Singapore and you want to save money, don't visit unless you watch those private videos, because I found some ways, very, very good ways to make things better and a lot more affordable. Wow, look at this building. Very, very impressive building. I'm not sure what kind of church it is. Let's take a look. It looks kind of crowded on the outside. This looks like we are reaching a different neighborhood, more of a historic downtown district. At least that's what it looks like. Let's take a look at the sign, what it says over here. St. Joseph's Church. Over 150 years to serve Eurasian Catholics. I don't know if it's open. Let's take a look. Nothing to lose by taking a look. Looks like we were back in Europe for a little bit. And now that the sun came out from those clouds, I can definitely feel that heat, very, very intense, sunny heat full of humidity. It affects your mind, it affects everything. Oh, there's no exit over here. Okay, so if we want to exit, we have to go around, which is fine. I just saw the shade over there and automatically started walking that way. This is something that happens when you're in the heat. Without even thinking too much, you end up being somewhere indoors or in the shade. Now, what are my thoughts about public transportation? I'm hoping to record a lot of videos capturing buses and MRT. MRT is also known as subway, metro, tube in different parts of the world, but it's all pretty similar. But one thing that stands out a little bit is the fact that it's hard to know how much your ride is going to cost, because the pricing depends on the distance and you need to know exactly the stop that you're gonna to board at, and the stop where you're going to get off. And then if you transfer to another line, you also need to know the same thing. And then you can use their online tools to estimate the cost of how much that would be. And the cost varies dramatically. Unfortunately, the tools that I tried, maybe they have better tools, but I tried to go on the official bus website of the bus company, and I could not type in the name of the stop. I would have to select it from a huge list of stops. And as you can imagine, reading through all those stops, it takes some time for the stop where you board the bus to the stop where you get off the bus. And also, what if I want to ride a few extra stops, or if I want to get off earlier? But anyway, just selecting those stops, it was a very time-consuming process. And by the time I figured out the cost, it took me like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that. And it was definitely a little bit longer than I would like to spend when it comes to preparing for taking public transportation. This part could be improved. It reminded me of the system in Hong Kong. They have the same issue too. You don't know how much it's going to cost when you're riding their buses. It might be $1, it might be $5, it might be even more. I don't know exactly what the limitations are off the top of my head, but it's a pretty big range, and you're basically kind of gambling a little bit because you don't know exactly how much it's going to cost until you look at your bank statement or your credit card statement, and it takes a few days for the fare to show. For me, it's a little bit too early. I still don't know how much I paid for riding buses or riding MRT in Singapore. I need to wait until this information is shown on my bank statement. But the good news, based on my research, is that it shouldn't be too expensive. It should be fairly affordable, especially in comparison with many European cities where the cost of using public transportation has gone up dramatically in the last few years, or it's going up, it's in the process of going up. I know they are raising the costs in Vienna, they just raised them in Budapest, and Western Europe was already expensive. So it's not going to be like $15 or $20 per day that you might end up spending in Berlin or something like that. It's going to be like $5 per day maybe, or something like that. Definitely under 10, so a little bit cheaper than Western Europe, despite the costs of the hotels and accommodations being often higher. Believe it or not, renting a hotel or Airbnb might cost even more than renting it in Europe. I mean, renting in Singapore might cost more than renting it in Europe. So that is something to keep in mind. This is definitely a pretty cool area with lots of historic buildings like this. I know that place, Jans, that was on my list. So we can take a look at that one. Also take a look at this one. If we were to cross to that side, there is no shade over there, so you have to think strategically where you can look at it in the shade. Just like in Europe, you have to think strategically where and when do you need to use the toilet, and how much coffee you can drink and when, and then where you're gonna go afterwards, or when you shouldn't leave your hotel because you know you're gonna want to use the toilet in 20 minutes, so it's better if you stay home and wait. In Singapore, you have to do sun management and think about where you're gonna hide from the sun, how you can maximize your energy without getting burned by the sun to the point that you have such a bad headache that you can't do anything else, because that happens to people when they get too much sun exposure. So it's good to take care of yourself. I do have a video about that on my channel, how to maximize your travel energy when you're exploring different places, and with some practical tips that can help you. Feel free to type that into the search bar if you want to find that video. I think it's called Extending Your Travel Energy or something like that. nice to see this older church be in the foreground with the modern skyscrapers and other cool looking buildings behind it, and this nice Southeast Asian trees also add to the atmosphere. Looking pretty good. You can see the speed of their buses is pretty good as well. It's not too slow, and that is something I noticed here. The bus drivers have a character, and also their speed limits are pretty good, so you don't have to get bored when you're riding a bus. You can see this guy going just like that, and the guy behind him also going pretty fast, which is great. This one's gonna stop. Yeah, if you want your bus to stop, you have to wave and make sure the driver can see you. Otherwise, they may or may not stop. If nobody is getting off, then they're not going to stop. Cool. I'm kind of curious to go inside that church, but also I'm kind of lazy to cross the street and go in the sun. So maybe it's better to skip it. After all, I went into so many churches in Europe. I'm the kind of person who is always curious to go everywhere. So I do have to sometimes make choices and prioritize. And sometimes that results in sacrifices because it's impossible to see everything at the same time. Especially in a place like Singapore, they have so much stuff to explore, so many different neighborhoods. Right now, by the way, if we keep walking straight, we should reach Chinatown eventually. I don't know how long that's gonna take. But it is also a very scenic walk, so I might split it into different parts. And this video is gonna cover this part, and then Chinatown will be explored in another video. We'll see how it goes. But I can see that even over here, like these buildings, they look pretty awesome. Let me know what you think. I like the way this is designed. It's not something that you might expect in Asia, but they do have some buildings like that, and not just in Singapore. I've seen buildings like that in Vietnam and in China. And it looks like definitely like Western European style, but also there is like an Asian twist to it that makes it look a little bit different and unique. I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm ready to cross. 3, 2, 1. No, still have to wait. It does take a while to wait. While we are waiting, we might as well just cross over here. Well, since we are already on this side, let's go ahead and take a look at that church. Now, another thing that that impressed me in Singapore is these awesome lime green buses, double-decker buses. I love them. If you sit on the second floor in the very front, it would give you a very good view of the city, and it's a great way to explore the city if you want to take a break from walking around. I consider this to be a very good way to explore the city, because it's hard to keep walking whole day or keep standing whole day, so it's a good way to have a balance and enjoy riding transit. And if you get that good seat, I think it's totally worth it, even if you have to go a little bit extra to the last stop and wait for the bus to turn around so that you can be the first to board and get that good seat. That's something I would normally do if I have time, because I really like having that experience of sitting in the front and watching everything through the windshield. It's a very entertaining way to explore new places, and also old places too, because every time you ride it, you see something new, something different. Okay, this looks like it's the gate for everyone. And now we can see it much closer. Drop off and pick up. Oh, now finally we are in the shade. Looks like they have a nice little garden over here. I think it was pretty well worth it crossing the street and coming back to check this out, because from the outside it looks like just like a white little church, but take a look at all this stuff that they have going on over here. Like this nice little garden with beautiful landscaping, and it's not too crowded. Definitely very authentic experience walking around here, and eye-pleasing and interesting. Parts of Singapore also remind me Hong Kong a little bit. I think they have some similarities. These double-decker buses. Also, the city feels kind of fast-paced, and some of the buildings look a little bit similar. The vibes feel a little bit similar, but also they are different. I might record a video comparing them. Hong Kong probably has a little bit more history, especially when it comes to Asian history, because obviously it's a lot older, I think, especially when it was being developed. You can feel that it kind of, in a way, when I was in Hong Kong, I felt like it's like one of the first cities that became so developed, and now other cities have already caught up with it in some ways. So it didn't feel like it's like the number one place in the world. But if I went to Hong Kong in the 80s, maybe I would feel that way. And in many ways, it was the number one place in the world, because that's where they made a lot of cool stuff, manufactured a lot of cool things and gadgets, and produced a lot of entertainment content and movies and things like that. So I think Hong Kong definitely has a very big major place in the history of technology development and entertainment and other things, and architecture too, and city infrastructure too. They built their public transportation. Look at these cool stairs. They built their public transportation like in the middle of all the mountains and different elevation changes, and they were able to dig through those tunnels, and definitely good job. They did a good job. So this is like a little village around the church. Pretty cool. Let's see if we can get inside or not. Maybe they require tickets, maybe they don't allow filming, but we can just take a look. There's nothing to lose by taking a look. That's what I always tell myself. This door is closed. Let's take a look at this door over here. I want to make sure my partner can see me. We don't want to get lost. And also, this is a map of the property here. It's a pretty big property. This is closed. And this looks like a wedding venue or something like that. Also closed. But if you guys are getting married, this could be an option in Singapore right here. You can see different kind of photo opportunities. Perhaps in that case we should take a look downstairs over here. Today is a weekday and it's kind of afternoon time, so probably it would make sense for some of these places to be closed, opening later in the evening, I guess. But still, I don't regret taking a look. Interesting, if you want to go down, you can use the escalator, but if you want to go up, you need to take the stairs, unless maybe there's a way to ride it upstairs on the other side. Let's take a look. Nope, looks like everything is blocked over there. Probably should ask my partner if there's a way to get inside. Do you know if there's a way to get inside? Are we supposed to go inside or not? Well, if we walk around the whole building and don't see the entrance, then that would be a final confirmation that we are not supposed to go inside. All the doors are closed. So basically the garden around it is open, but the building itself appears to be closed, which is fine. It's not a big deal. All right, let's go to the next place. My partner is having a great time exploring on her own. She doesn't want to be part of the videos or doesn't like to be filmed, which is totally fine. We found this formula that works for us, and we both feel pretty comfortable this way. When I film, she is walking around behind me, and when I'm not filming, then when I'm not filming, then we are together, which is totally fine. I just want to make sure we don't get lost. We did get our SIM cards already, and speaking of SIM cards, I found a very cool provider here in Singapore. This is not an advertisement, they are not paying me. I'm just trying to help you in case you are trying to visit Singapore and you're looking for data. Most likely your European plan is gonna charge you a lot extra, so it's better to buy a local eSIM or regular SIM card here in Singapore. And the company that I recommend is called 8, as number 8, and they have plans that give you lots of data. I don't remember the exact amount of data they give you, but it's lots of data, more than enough, and it costs maybe $6 or something like that. It's a lot cheaper than all the other providers, and I tried that from my phone and it's working flawlessly. The only thing I had to do was just activate it, and it was as easy as that. They used my passport information, my personal details when I was signing up, and then as soon as I passed the verification, then I activated it and it was working, and it's been working just fine with no problems. So definitely something that I recommend. It's called 8, as number 8, but it's actually a word 8, and you can use it for your data needs in Singapore, costing only $6, and that gives you, I believe, 30 days of almost unlimited data, which I think is a very good value. If you compare it with other companies, it's not something you can buy at a physical store in the airport. You have to book it on their website and then go to the pickup spot to pick it up, or you can order it as an eSIM and activate it when you arrive in Singapore on your phone without having to go to any store at all. Nice looking bus pulled up right in front of us, as if he knew that we are filming right now. So cool. Number 190, Volvo from Sweden. I also saw a lot of Chinese buses here. It's nice to see a Volvo. And it's cool to see both double-decker and single-decker buses sharing city streets. And it's also really cool just feeling the vibes. It's totally different from Europe. I don't know why they don't want to use bendy buses here. I noticed that all the cities that were influenced by Great Britain in the past, Singapore is one of them, Hong Kong is another one, they don't use bendy buses, and they don't use bendy buses in London either. They tried experimenting and they didn't like them, so they went back to their regular double-decker buses. So I love double-decker buses, but why not use double-decker buses and articulated bendy buses and standard 12-meter buses? Why not? This is something that I've seen in Las Vegas, for example. They have they used to have a lot of double-deckers, not as many anymore, unfortunately. And they used to serve all kinds of city routes. Now they are focused on the main use route that's the most popular among tourists and visitors. But in addition to that, they also have lots of other articulated bendy buses and regular 12-meter standard buses like the one that we see right here, servicing city streets in Las Vegas. And it seems like it's working out pretty well in terms of how different vehicles are used on different routes. I'm not saying that Las Vegas has a great public transportation system. I'm just speaking specifically about the fleet. It's cool that they're using all these different bus models. It's one of the very few cities I can think of that has different types of vehicles like this. Also Berlin, I believe they have I've seen articulated minibuses and the double-deckers in Berlin. If you want to cross the street, you have to wait for a long time sometimes. That is one thing that makes me appreciate Budapest one more time, because over there the light changes to green very quickly and then it changes back to red very quickly. But this means that if you want to cross the street, as soon as it turns green, you have enough time to cross it. Otherwise, if you're waiting, you don't need to wait for that long, making everything operate more efficiently and faster, which I really appreciate. So in this case, I got bored of waiting and I just crossed this. I'm gonna cross it over here where the road is narrow. And also it gives me a chance to take a look at this building. And now go back that way. Also, this architecture is pretty cool as well. I wonder what they call it, like a mix of European and Asian styles. If you know what this style is called, let me know. I'm talking about this style. Pretty cool. Victorian style? I don't know, just something that popped in my head. I don't know. Popped into my head. It's hard to know all the styles and it's hard to memorize everything all the time. That's why sometimes I get confused about some destination names that I'm visiting and different route numbers. And it's just really like we have so much information going through our brains. It's hard to really memorize everything. We have to choose what we want to memorize and what we don't have to memorize. Otherwise, you can just go crazy. So, for me, I choose to memorize the title of the video. And that's about it for the most part. Pretty cool. See some monuments for the safety of Singapore. This looks like a monument dedicated to firefighters. If any firefighters are watching this video, thank you for your service. Your job is very important, just as many other jobs. Okay, here we have no choice but to go up because of that construction. But guess what? I actually like it because I see a lot of buses passing by on this street, and this kind of gives us an option to take a look at it from above, and also hopefully with the city skyline behind it. You can see all these buses heading back to where we just came from. If you keep walking that way, we are looking at right now, this is, I believe this is historic city center or something like that, followed by Bugis area, and after Bugis is Little India, where we came from. And in the opposite direction, we might be hitting Chinatown pretty soon. I didn't look at the map, so I'm not sure exactly how long it's gonna take to get there. I might stop recording and start recording another video at some point, because we've been rolling for almost an hour now, which is kind of cool, because I was expecting my phone to shut down earlier because of the heat. I'm surprised that it's been working for so long. Maybe it's because we went into that mall with air conditioning, or maybe it's because we tried to stay in the shade for the most part. You can see that street light is very slow. It's definitely taking its time. Okay, now it's green. Let's see all the bus action over here. In case somebody didn't know, lime green is actually my favorite color. So for a bus lover and a lime green color lover, this is as good as it gets. And you can see people here, if they want to keep going, they have to cross the street to the other side because there's no other way to go. So no choice. And I believe over there in the distance, that should be Chinatown area. I might be wrong. I haven't been there yet, but it's either Chinatown or right behind it is Chinatown. And on this note, I would like to tell you that regardless of whether you're currently in Europe, Asia, USA, or anywhere else, if you haven't done much long-term or long-distance traveling lately, I would like to challenge you to broaden your horizons and give it a try. When you visit new places, you might find yourself feeling happier and more fulfilled with new ideas, inspiration, and motivation to accomplish your life goals. And it's not just my personal opinion, it's confirmed by scientific research. Either way, it should be a win-win. In the worst case scenario, you'll just learn how to appreciate your home country more. And as an active traveler and business owner with experience, I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, and business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I appreciate you being a part of the Transit Nomad family and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.